Welcome to Suppose, a podcast where authors discuss the extraordinary. I'm James V. Hassell,
And I'm Sarah Jaune.
and this week we're discussing Suppose you were to write about someone you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This
This
one,
is a trip. It's tricky.
it's very tricky, and I'm going to have quite a few stories to share on this one, I believe.
Yeah. So this is in the front of my head because I have an ex-friend
Mm.
who is my Lockhart. As long as you know who Harry Potter is, you will know what I mean by that, because this woman is so amazingly but subtly over the top that she deserves and doesn't deserve to have an entire book written about how fucktastic she is.
Mm-hmm.
She is a sociopath. She's a legit sociopath, and
Yes.
she does a good job of hiding it. So she, happily makes new friends in a new place and then destroys their lives and then moves
Mm-hmm.
so she can do it all over again. It's kind of stunning.
Yeah, that's... and let's face it, that a premise alone is worth a novel.
Right? I would love to write about her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seriously contemplating doing so because I have a friend or two that can help me with coming up with all of the things that she did.
Mm-hmm.
But and I have no idea legally what this would be like, nor do I feel like she's going to actually ever hear about the book.
Right.
Or comprehend that it would be about her. Although she might. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, where should you draw the line?
Well, legally, you don't use the name.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it?
That's the end of the legal ramifications.
Oh, good. So I can eviscerate her and do what she does in a book.
Mm-hmm. At least to my knowledge, that's the case. I'm pretty sure, as long as you don't say it's about them, you don't use their name.
Yeah.
To my knowledge,
well, I mean,
that's the extent.
So there
because authors are thieves.
We are.
All
it's
authors.
Very true.
It can be from something very tiny,
Mm-hmm.
a description of something in real life,
Mm-hmm.
or a place, or a store, or an event that happened to you. You write what you know.
You do.
So, I steal from life. That's what I do when I'm right, and it's from my first book, Conception. I don't know if you remember that one. It's been a while since you've read it.
Mm-hmm.
But the
I remember.
old lady in the ER who every breath she took,
Mm-hmm.
she said, "Oh, oh, hey, hey." That happened to me in the ER. There was a lady there, and when she breathed, it was in sound effects. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know why, but I just found that fascinating. So I stole that 5 minutes of my life and put it in a book because it was interesting.
That is interesting, but that would drive me nuts.
Yeah, it was a little weird, but I was deathly ill at the time.
Yeah.
So I was more concerned about, oh my God, what is going on here?
True enough.
But I stole the sign. The all patients will be seen according to their severity rather than when they showed up. Because I found that funny. Because I could just imagine all the times, I was here first with my cut finger, and the gunshot wound is being seen first, and they're bitching.
Yes. The last time not the last time. Last time I got a needle stuck in my finger and couldn't get it out when I was sewing. I had to go to the ER, and they actually took me back fairly quickly, which I thought was funny because it was just the needle was just broken off in my finger. It wasn't, the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I think it was because it was so funny that they wanted to come back and they're like, they couldn't see it, and I'm like, oh, I promise you, it's in there. I can feel it in there.
Yeah.
But so they were laughing at me, so I think that's why I got seen so quickly.
They're like, all right, get the crazy lady out first. And then, oh, there is a needle there. Never mind, let's fix this.
I should totally post the picture of the finger in my the needle in my finger from a couple weeks ago.
I completely agree.
After you do this podcast, after you post it, I will put that picture up with the link to it so everybody can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was like, that's the thing I expected from those, what's the TV show called? There's like the horror stories of the ER.
Right? Yeah, but instead of going to the ER, which I expected to have to do, my husband was able to pull it out with pliers.
Yeah.
And it was not that I didn't trust him to do so, it's thought he would not have the stomach to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very impressed that he actually managed it without throwing up.
Yeah, it looked like a gross one.
It's really gross. My mother's like, you need to go to the ER now. I'm like, no, it's already been out for a while. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, you sent me the picture, and I'm like, that looks bad, but there's like not a lot of blood or anything, so I can see like I said, my opinion was it just looked like a piercing at that point.
It did, and that's what it didn't hurt really. It just felt like a piercing.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Anyway. So that's something that'll probably go into a book at some point, I'm sure. But so my friend went to a baby blessing way something or other. This is a new age baby shower kind of deal. And they draw henna on people and they do like chanting circles and then they bless the mother with sage, burning sage. Mm-hmm. And so I asked her, I was like, well, what does burning sage smell like? And she's like, it smells like Catholicism. And I was like, that is so going in a book.
Yeah.
Because that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I still didn't have any idea what she meant by that because I don't really remember what Catholic churches smell like, but it was still really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've never been to a Catholic church, but that description is amazing.
So I've used the kids sometimes in order to describe children because developmentally that's helpful. Just to remember what they were like back then. But typically I don't put my kids actually in a book. Like I'm not describing them in particular.
Yeah.
What have I ever used anybody else?
I've used tons of people. I've used events.
I've used a lot of events, but I'm kind of blanking on like living people. Oh, I did recently write that story that I don't know if we're gonna ever publish or not because it was more catharsis than anything else. But I definitely wrote somebody in there that I was having a lot of struggles with.
Yeah, but it may come out. May need a rewrite. We'll do a draft 2 if you want.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna need some help.
Yeah, which.
That's fine. It was therapy.
I was going to say, I think most books do. I think the first draft is always therapy.
Yeah.
For every book.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which makes me question what some of the other people were going through when I look back from books. But, like, Rowling, for example, had Harry Potter, who, when she started writing it, was doing it, out of a car on napkins. So you have this kid living under the stairs who's actually really special. Yeah, it's therapy.
Yeah.
I think books are always therapy. I went to Dragon Con one year, so I started my book there. Why not? I had experience. And plus I had that drive. I drove Georgia to Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like 151 days.
It's not that long. I've done that drive many times.
And it feels so long.
It's not that long.
You probably did it with people in the car.
No, not always.
Well,
I've done it by myself plenty of times.
Well, okay. Maybe you have a tolerance of not doing anything.
It's doing something. I would always listen to books or loud music or whatever, but
I did all that too, but I was also...
I can turn the radio off and dream up books in my head while I'm driving. Well, and that's oftentimes what I did.
That's what happened to me.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I don't get bored in the car. Typically my ass just goes numb.
Okay, I was also 25, 26, 27, something like that.
I started driving cross country when I was 19.
And a male.
Yeah. I've done it. I've done the cross country trip 20, 25, 20 to 25 times.
Mm-hmm.
I've been cross country. So
Also,
Maryland, California.
if you're remembering I-20, there's about 2 hours of solid nothing in Louisiana.
Yeah, you should see Montana.
I've seen
It's
Arkansas.
almost as bad as Texas.
Like Arkansas is worse than Louisiana.
Yeah, I found Louisiana pretty. And typically I went down to 10 because I had a roommate who lived in New Orleans.
Oh,
so I could crash with his family.
That's different though. Like South Louisiana's fun.
It's beautiful.
Western Louisiana's fine. It's just
okay.
The northern
Iowa.
Eastern Louisiana is just flat and nothing to look at.
Iowa is terrible.
Yeah. Arkansas.
The only thing to look at is corn and soy.
Arkansas, you don't even have that to look at. It's just flat land, no hills, no trees, no houses.
Yeah, that's how Montana is. It's huge. So
I thought Montana
it's not as big as
had
Texas.
Forest and like mountains and stuff.
No, a lot of it is just grasslands.
Oh, I'm thinking of the wrong part of Montana. I've never actually been.
You are. It's. I mean,
and I'm guessing no one takes pictures of the grasslands.
Nobody takes pictures of the grasslands. It's not that they don't have them, it's that that's not where the freeways go.
Yeah.
And the poverty, that's probably the most heartbreaking part. It's like you see all of these, it gets really friggin' cold in Montana, really snowy, and people are living in trailers.
Yeah.
It's just, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we are way off topic.
Oh, we are. So
writing about somebody in real life. So this person that I want to write about, like she very recently went about destroying the life of her ex-girlfriend. Now, I a while ago, I sent you a video of 3 women, and I said one of them's a psychopath, and they were just sitting there chit-chatting and doing like whatever, and I'm like, pick out the psychopath, and you nailed her. You knew exactly who it was.
It was just a mundane, normal conversation. This wasn't some outlandish example.
No, they were just talking about like a cupcake or eating marshmallows or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is just unbelievable. And for the longest time, she had a bunch of people fooled. So what she enjoyed doing was that she would take people, bring them in, learn everything she could about them, and then she would very methodically rip them to shreds and turn everybody who knew them and was friends with them against them.
Yeah. Which, like, I've written about someone who's similar but not in the exact same way, in a very different way, where they would rip people to shreds and then want to be the victim over it.
Yeah.
I've written about that person.
Do you know somebody like that?
Yes.
Yeah, this is one of those times where it's like, I know this person, I know her very well, and I would really like to make her fodder for a story. I just don't know what the premise would be.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think
I don't know. Have you ever? I'm actually going to assume this answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you ever read American Psycho?
No.
Okay.
I have not.
American Psycho it's not the most fun read.
Okay, fair enough.
In many ways, but it's done so purposefully. So it's a Bret Easton Ellis novel. Also got made into a movie. The movie is pretty excellent. It's also divisive. The book and the book's much the same way, but it's about a psychopath in business in the 80s, and how it's just a story about Patrick Bateman, the psychopath.
Okay.
And he does things like, so it's a first-person novel, so it's from the perspective of the psychopath, which is really interesting. So he can go into the scene and just describe murdering someone, but it doesn't really go into detail. It's not that important.
Mm-hmm.
But then he'll be talking about his new favorite album, which will be like Huey Lewis in the News. And it's just page after page of glowing over this music that connects to him.
Wow.
Which is why I say it's a little bit of a difficult read, but it's so good whenever you see what's happening.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle a lot with putting myself into the position of this person.
Oh yeah,
That's my other problem with doing this is like, can I do this justice? And probably I can't, but it doesn't mean I can't try.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I can't imagine just going out and for the fun of it, destroying people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she does.
Well, see, that's when you need a good editor, which is where I would come in.
I know, but
because sadly, I could write that book very well. Not to say I'm a psychopath. I just understand them better than you do, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've taken the test. I'm about midway there.
I'm at the very other end.
Yeah, you have like nothing.
I have no psychopathic tendencies.
No.
I have no mental illnesses and no neuroticisms either. No anxiety, no depression, no nothing. I take those tests and they're like, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where maybe you're lying to the test and it's like, I'm not lying. It's just very normal.
Mm-hmm.
Or abnormal. I don't know which it is. Anyway.
At this point, abnormal.
At this point, abnormal. Yeah. I have had anxiety in the past, but I don't have it any further.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want it back, so.
No, it's not fun.
So, so I'm thinking about this. Like, do I write this from the perspective of one of her victims? Do I write it from my perspective? Because my perspective is that she caused me damage, but in the end, I kind of had the last laugh over her because I'm not a good puppet.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I ended the relationship with her very calmly and then just started ignoring her, which she didn't like that because she wasn't done destroying me.
Right.
She was still having fun, and then she went after me in any way she could by like trying to turn me into social services and get my kids taken away from me. And
yeah,
it was to the point where it was so ridiculous. My pediatrician's like, she scheduled an appointment with me to discuss you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty far.
She freaked the pediatrician out. The pediatrician's like, I have never seen anything like this. And I'm really glad she's moving.
Yeah.
Because this is crazy.
Here's a proposal.
Okay.
For the book.
Mm-hmm.
So you know Stephen King's Misery?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that movie. I haven't read it, but the movie is excellent. But it's about a crazy woman. An author gets in a wreck on a snowy place. It's like a very isolated place.
Mm-hmm.
And a woman saves him and nurses him back to health, and it turns out she's a super fan of his. And he had just killed off the main character of the series that she adores.
Uh-huh.
So while he's bedridden and can't really walk, she's getting him to rewrite a new book and fix this. And it's to the point where like he tries to escape and she like hobbles his feet.
Oh, good.
That's the most iconic scene of that movie, and it's great. It's awful,
sounds
and it's great.
Terrible.
But so it's very much from the victim suffering, the psychopath.
Yeah.
But I would say instead of writing it from the victim, I would write it from victims. Because you're saying she moves and keeps up this pattern. So
she does. Well, and she would make a group of a bunch of friends, and then she'd start turning on them one at a time.
Yeah, and getting the group to do it too.
Yes, and getting the group to do it. She's very powerful about that. And she did it to me. Like, not completely. I did never fall completely into that trap, but she did bring out the worst in me. I was the most judgmental, heinous wench when I was friends with her, and it was like, this is not me. And so the fact that I found myself that susceptible was, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
To me, that I was that leadable. That's not right.
Malleable?
Yeah, I guess malleable. That's a good way of putting it. Yes. And it's not something that I think somebody could do to me now, because I think I've learned the lessons from it now, but I was like 25 at the time, so, you know, I wasn't exactly completely formed
right
in my head. So.
And this also touches on our last podcast with maybe not the hysteria, but the group thing. It's very easy to fall into it.
It's so easy.
Especially when you have a strong leader within the group.
Yes. And I don't exactly know how she does it. But she does. And
it's charisma, and to some degree, at least, it usually falls on charisma and confidence. As soon as you say something with confidence, people automatically want to believe it.
That is true.
Which
you just said that confidently, so I believe you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've had to learn it. I was very, very not confident growing up. And then I met one of my friends who is very confident. And I watched him sort of form the group think around him. But I wasn't confident, but I was strong-willed, so I always called him on his bullshit.
Yeah.
And since he's not a complete psychopath or sociopath, he found that refreshing. That's why we became friends.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So rather than, because if it was someone like the person you're speaking of, she would want to destroy me immediately because I wouldn't go with it.
Yes.
Whereas he's
I think
he wanted to be my friend because of that.
Yeah, I think that's why she turned on me second, because I was not the first person in the group that she turned on and turned everybody against. She went after me second. I think it's because I started putting up a fight.
Yeah.
Against it. So
as soon as you're the threat, or even the perceived threat, that would have been your turn very early on.
Yeah. And I mean, it worked. Whatever, I got out of the group and stayed out and just did my own thing. And I retreated into myself for a long time to try and regroup and come to terms with and heal from that experience.
Reflect.
Yeah.
Reflect's always a good one.
A lot of reflection
because that hindsight 2020 thing, very accurate. But as long as you can see it afterwards, you can learn from it.
I saw it afterwards, and I don't think that it was something that was necessarily I mean, what I took comfort in is the fact that there's a lot of people who just never saw it.
Yes.
And just still don't see it. I had another friend who did see it, but had no real reason to cause a rift with her. And also because she really cared about this woman. This woman has 3 kids.
Yeah.
So she wanted to not lose the kids out of her life. So, I mean, this is amazing. There's so many mother things about this. She's married, and her husband agreed that they could have an open relationship, and she was so that she could be with a woman, which is fine. But the second he went on Tinder and tried to date, she flipped her lid and threatened to take his kids away and all this other stuff.
Of course.
And she won't actually take her kids away because he babysits them so that she can go out and do whatever the hell she wants. Yes, but she's like the consummate mother. She's did everything. He really is like Donald Trump.
If we were in a live chat right now, I can just see all the cuck and beta comments flying in.
Oh my gosh. Right? So yeah, it was just crazy. I'm hearing these stories of what's going on with her, and I'm going, this needs to get written down. So I'm gonna have to like make time to go hang out with my friend to get the stories written down and take notes and everything. So I really think I want to do this. And part of this, part of why this was such a terrible time for me is that I had in that friendship with her, I had 2 of my 3 miscarriages.
Oh. So
I was very vulnerable.
Yeah.
I was a mess. And so the strength I got out of coming out of all of this, it's been an experience.
I was going to say the strength should be something insurmountable at this point.
You cannot knock me down anymore. It's not possible. I survived bearing 3 children and a psychopath. She was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, I feel like maybe I should put that as part of, but I don't know, because that's really what happened, and I think the real story. So I'm deciding on whether the real story makes more sense or going for completely fictionalized and putting her into something else.
Or you could mix it.
I probably would mix it.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't need to be the 100% biography, because then that would be a little sketchy.
No, but it's a story on its own.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that the fact that they all went together. Yeah.
That's yeah, just the culmination of bullshit.
God. I used to attract really, really broken people to me constantly. All the time. And I have since stopped. I have not since stopped because I had somebody very broken in my life, even, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Hence needing to write a therapeutic book. But I really thought I'd gotten better about spotting it, and I'm not always that good. But it's difficult to not just retreat and ignore everybody. Like, I really hate peopling, and I say that because I really hate peopling because people are a mess, and I'm tired of dealing with their messes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even my responsibility to deal with.
No, you find functional people where you don't deal with messes. You deal with new opportunities or constructive discussion. Yeah, this is why I keep my friends list is very, very small. It will always be that way.
Yeah, I tend to just ignore the people on the periphery who are a little crazy on Facebook. This was a live thing, and so I would love to say that I'm better about it, but I'm not completely. However, this woman who was a hot mess in my life 6 months ago did not get the better of me, and she didn't get to walk all over me. I let myself be walked all over because I wanted to. It was not her just using me.
I need to look this up now because this will be funny, I think.
Okay.
I'm on a different tangent at this point.
Okay.
I don't know how to look this up now. Oh, wait, here. No? Maybe? I hate Facebook.
Yes. I have 200 friends on Facebook. I don't know most of them.
That's what I was going to look up. I'm looking up how many friends I have because...
You have none, 15 or something ridiculous like that.
It's 39.
39 people on Facebook. Good lord.
Like I said, my friend list stays very small. This is family included and a bunch of people I don't talk to anymore. You have 352 friends.
Yeah. I don't talk to almost any of them. So, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not something that I don't get involved with their lives. Facebook is, it's just a platform to, arrange a homeschool field trip or connect on for business stuff or whatever. That's not really something that I take all that seriously anymore. I used to, but not so much.
I want to the next least amount of friends someone has who's on my friends list, because I'm just looking at this page now, is 188. No, 135. That's the next lowest figure. No, 130. Okay, I keep spotting new ones. 130 is the lowest one.
7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, except me, because my list is 39 people.
Your list is 39 people because you choose to let it be that way.
One of these friends, no, it's a different Facebook. They've switched Facebooks. I have them friended twice. I need to unfriend their dead account. I'm going to be at 35 before the end of the day.
Okay, anyway.
Now that I'm on this page, I need to trim it. There's clutter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I really feel like I need to write about this person, but I wouldn't necessarily want to invite her back into my life.
Absolutely.
And does that feel like an invitation? No?
I don't think so. To me, and this is where I think what psychopathic tendencies I do have will be revealed. Because I think once you take an event and you own it to the degree that you're writing about it, then whatever that person is to you has now become your plaything.
Oh, I like that.
Because it is. Because you're taking 100% complete ownership over someone or something in your life because you're writing about it. You can change details. You've become the manipulator.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So I don't
think I would be any good at it, but I like it.
Right. But that's how I felt on some of my more traumatic things I wrote about, where it's like, no, I get to take this moment now and completely do what I will to it. And that was the therapy of me owning my shit.
Yeah.
Because without that, I had just a mess of like angst or regret or whatever else.
Yeah.
It was just the crap in the past that was just crap until I took it and made it something valuable.
I think that's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And I am. Yeah, I think that's a very helpful way. So I think that I could probably. I'm trying to like talk, but I'm also thinking, and that's hard. I don't do two things at once.
That gum and walking, it's tricky.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Can't do it. So, I would like to do this because I think that although I am past it, in a lot of ways, I think that it also left me very guarded. Like I haven't completely owned my way out of that one.
Yeah. Which,
So.
that's what I like about the writing part of it, is because, I don't know, it takes trauma and makes it not as bad.
It does. That's kind of why I want to write about the miscarriages and stuff like that, but I don't want it to be that the main focus of the story.
Yeah. There's also a big difference of, as long as you're in a place to do it.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, you don't know if it feels like an invitation, so you would need to know you are owning it, and it's not coming back to own you. You're not picking a scab.
And letting it bleed again. Right. Yeah, I'd already written about it with the fan fiction.
Yes.
And I think I could take a lot of that, of what I wrote there, and just transcribe it into the emotions into what, a different kind of story and more of what happened. So I think I could do it. But it's still one of those times where it's like, I just don't know. I don't know. So the other part of this in the writing about people is that everybody wants me to write a book about my middle child.
Yeah.
everybody asks me to write a book about him.
Well, whenever because even I suggested this, so I'm guilty too.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
I didn't say write it about him. I said you need to take just a couple of the ideas and make a new character out of it.
Yeah. I don't know how to, but if I did this, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was part of the story.
Right.
And he was an integral part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I could put him into the story where he's there and it wouldn't be a main focus about him.
Yeah.
And I also don't think it's good to write a book about a kid like that.
No.
I think that's like, let's feed your ego.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No. Yes. My thing was just like, let's take the science thing.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, he's a little bit of a nut. So I could put him in there, but everybody wants me to write down all of his exploits because they're so funny and so bizarre, and so this would be a way I could, because I think that part of the amazing thing in this is I had this child driving me absolutely crazy at this time, and he was like my farce. So I had my built-in comedic timing of, I'm going through one of the worst days of my life. I'm at the post office, and this kid who's just turned 2 and is tiny is demanding that the big-ass, scary, tattooed biker ring the doorbell for him, which annoyed the mailman. And the mailman came out to yell at the biker and then decided not to yell at the biker because he wasn't actually stupid.
Yeah.
So, I'm, wanting to cry that whole day. And then he does that, and it's like, this is just... And yeah, because if I'd had any other sense of ability to not, because I just had a miscarriage 4 or 5 days before. It was that fresh, and I had to go to the post office, and it's Christmas. And if it had been any other time, I probably would have stopped him from playing with the bell, but I didn't have the reserves in me to stop him that day. So I'm really glad I didn't, because it's one of my favorite stories about him.
Yeah.
So I have this, and I wrote all of this down. I chronicled it on Facebook, and I can go back and find all of these times where it's like you electrocuted yourself again, or you rewired the doorbell again, or the only person in the house who knows how to wire the doorbell is this one, and he kept reprogramming it so that when neighbors had somebody ringing their doorbell, ours would ring.
Oh, Lord. How do you even do that?
I don't know. If I knew, man, my life would be so much easier. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe I mashing them all together makes the most sense and telling the real story for what it was.
Yeah, that would work.
But yeah, we can change some of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think all things considered, it should get told that way.
I agree.
Because
But
I think it was that amazing because of how many things went wrong all at the same time.
yeah. But here's the next question, I guess. When you pose this question to begin with as a topic, you ask what would be the ethics of writing about someone you know. Mm-hmm. And I think that boils down to or at least partly would be, how would you feel if you popped up in someone's book?
Oh, crap. Depends on if it was a fair characterization.
Yeah.
If I thought it was a fair characterization, I would be okay with it. Mm-hmm. Even if it was not completely flattering.
Right. See, that's my idea. Is I'm no saint. Someone can write about me, and I'm sitting here writing about them.
Yeah.
Never date writers, people. But,
no.
So I'm asking myself the questions well, if they use me, I've already used them. Do they need to own their own shit with me? Maybe. Would I be okay with that? I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be. So I don't think that I would do like one-to-one transfer, tell the exact real story,
I don't know.
because I don't think I can remember
I've never
most of
done
it anyway.
1-to-1.
But I
My life's
wouldn't
not that
want
interesting.
and I think that this is the critical part. I would not have to exaggerate this woman,
Right.
make this a really friggin' fascinating story.
Yeah.
She needs no embellishment.
Mm.
Like, legitimately, she doesn't. She was so screwed up on her own that I don't have to do much. So,
Yeah, that was the part I did. I've never 1-to-1 someone. It's always taking one event and either expanding on it or contracting it. And the characters themselves are always someone different.
yeah.
So it takes a trait from someone, but then I add something else, and then they're a little bit different.
Yeah, typically I do that. Like, I'll typically change, it might take a character trait from somebody and use them. My spouse has made several appearances because he's really easy since I know him so well.
Yes.
He's entertaining to write about.
Right.
Someday I'm going to put in there the fact that I'm going to have a character that's technology challenged and have her spouse walk into the house and every single electronic that was broken all damn day long will suddenly magically work because you breathe the same air. Because I'm so freaking tired of that happening to me that everybody else has to share in my pain.
Yeah.
Like, no lie, that just drives me crazy. So he makes appearances, and I don't think he cares. Most times doesn't read the book anyway. So,
Yeah.
whatever. It's just very easy going about all that stuff. But for the most part, I haven't recreated anybody. Not really. Everybody is their own person how I see them. With sometimes, oh, that's a fun quirk, I would like to write about that.
Yeah.
But if I did this would be more of a true copy, as it were.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we're talking about someone with an incredible maligned mental aspect to them.
That's the other thing. She's not stable.
Yeah.
Do I really want to poke that bear?
Well, I wasn't getting at that part, but that does bring up a next interesting question. The part I was going to bring up was like the sociopath with psychotic tendencies. It's it's almost a blank slate in the fact that they're not that different from one another.
That is true.
So even doing a 1-to-1 recreation, you're kind of making a 1-to-1 trope. In a way.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, not saying in a negative way that it's going to be like every other character because you have the personal stories to go with it.
Yeah.
Just at the fact that by recreating them, you're recreating something that's already been recreated. That's a lot of recreations.
Yeah.
Which makes it slightly less different than 1-to-1ing someone for real.
That's true. And on the plus side, it makes it kind of easy because then it's really easy to be like, oh, look, that one's a psychopath. This is kind of what they're going to do.
Very much, yeah.
Oh.
I was going to say, and this was bad on me. I probably shouldn't say it now, but I'm going to. I was going to say, it's not like you're 1-to-1ing a real person.
Oh, well.
But it sounds bad, but it's kind of true.
It is kind of true because they really are.
There's something missing.
Yeah, the part that makes them human,
Empathy.
gives them their humanity, it's gone.
Yeah, the empathy is not there.
No, it's not. So that's an interesting way of putting it. Somebody without empathy, do they have humanity? What defines that?
I think a complete lack of empathy, I don't think you would fit the traditional definition of humanity. Because that's like every characteristic we talk about being human That's what we're talking about usually. Oh, we can recognize ourselves. We
Yeah.
can recognize other people, and we can recognize they feel like we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the summation of being human.
That's extraordinarily profound and creepy all at the same time. Wow. Okay. So on that happy note,
Yeah.
I think I have talked myself into writing it, and I think I'm going to talk myself into writing it not completely true, but fairly faithful to what happened.
Yeah.
And then just cross my fingers that she never hears about it.
No, she does. You own a gun.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she did not get the best of me, and she never will. So.
But to be fair, like, A, she'll probably never read it. B, if she does read it, she'll probably not connect it to herself.
No, well, yeah, it depends on how closely I tie everything, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I was gonna say, unless you use very specific things, and then she would probably be like, I didn't do that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. She is really just like Donald Trump. Like, I didn't do that.
Yeah. I did something like that, but that's not what happened.
No, I didn't. You misunderstood me.
Yeah. Like,
new research material. Watch Donald Trump speaking.
Oh, we're talking about sociopath and narcissist. Watch the Hillary tapes. You'll get that.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yes. We brought them both up. Let the hate flow through.
That is, I'm not arguing with you. No, she does a better job of like hiding it though.
Yeah, it's sociopath.
Yeah, she does a better job of hiding it, and
that's what sociopaths do.
Yes, that's the thing. Like this woman was not violent, but she had joy in hurting other people.
Yeah, because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're hunting, basically.
Oh, that's so depressing.
Yeah, but there's a weird superiority complex that comes with sociopathy. Pathy. If I could speak correctly, that would be wonderful. But yeah, it's where you're special, no one else is, and yeah, it makes it easier for people to be playthings at that point.
The fact that there's so many people in the world that are sociopaths scares me.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there a percentage going on? I don't even know what the percent would be.
Yeah. It's something high, too.
Really?
Yeah. Hang on, I'm looking.
Like, at best, I would say 10%, which is still high, but...
Yeah, I don't know if it's 4%.
4? Yeah, 4.
I think that's still really high.
I mean,
4 out of 100 people are sociopaths or psychopaths.
Mm-hmm.
No. Antisocial personality disorder.
Is it 100 people?
4% out of 100. 4 out of 100.
Was it 4 out of 100, or is it 4% of the population?
It's 4% out of the population.
So isn't that a different number when you take like 7.2 billion times 0.04?
I don't know what that is. I just meant 4 out of, like, I know 300 and some odd people on Facebook, and that means that at least 12 of them are sociopaths.
Yeah, and I have a calculator somewhere.
Yeah. I do on my computer, but I'm too lazy.
Yeah, that's where I am. I don't know if I can get to, billions.
I always lose count of the zeros.
I think I did enough zeros. Let's see. 100,000 million billion. Okay. And then I immediately hit the wrong function. I did divide. 0.04. So it's only 288 million people in the world.
Oh, God. That's almost the whole population of the United States.
The United States like 350 million. And we don't have all the sociopaths.
It's like 2/3 of the population of the United States is a sociopath.
We probably have more than some other countries.
There are actually more depending on what your race is.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always white people,
It actually goes on. No, not
No?
necessarily.
Oh, okay.
No. There's some races that have more and some that have less. And some of them they have less because way back when, like the Native Americans,
Mm-hmm.
if you had somebody who was a sociopath, they would just take them out in the woods and shoot them
Yeah.
before they could procreate.
Mm-hmm.
So they like whittled them down.
Well, see, then...
Which is, I don't think, the worst way of dealing with them. I don't
Probably
condone this. Don't, but you know what I mean? Like, I can see why in, 2 or 3,000 years ago, that's what they did. Because if you had somebody who wouldn't work and was causing mayhem and was just freeloading off of everybody, you don't want them.
That's not a sociopath. Sociopaths work.
No, not necessarily.
In weird ways.
There are sociopaths that don't work. They will just sponge off of people.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, usually they'll get others to do their work.
Yeah, but they're not, like, out doing hard labor.
Well, see, that's the other weird part, and why I'm going to... I know you're not saying, kill all the sociopaths.
Right.
But my counter-argument is sociopaths make great leaders.
Well, I'm not saying that, but there are some sociopaths that they actually will be like, they will just sponge off of you.
Oh, I know.
So they'll find somebody to just sponge off of and continue to just suck them dry until the person gets tired of them and kicks them out.
Maybe we need a different term for these people.
So in the book, The Sociopath Next Door, that's what she described them as. This is not, so that this is also sociopathy. Just a different kind. So she's like, there's two kinds of sociopathy. They'll go out and they'll actively seek out
highly functioning
employment.
And not.
Yes. Some of them are like the lazy skater boys that are stuck in your basement
but
for forever.
Some of them are PhDs on the cutting edge of neuroscience.
Yes. And some of them will kill animals and some of them won't. So there's variations in there of what they will not do. And it's probably directly related to how industrious they are.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Conscientious.
Conscientiousness, and that's going to have a lot of environment going on. Like, I'm completely fascinated by this one doctor who I need to look up his name because I keep bringing him up. But he was doing brain scans on himself and he found that his brain scans were lining up for him to be a psychopath. Yeah. And he was devastated by this news, and he told his friends and family, and they were like, "Oh yeah, definitely." Like, they could all see it, but he couldn't. And then he's trying to narrow down, was it just environment that kept him from being a murderous monster, and instead is a doctor on the leading cutting edge of neuroscience. Yeah. Wow. Because he had like psychopathy, he had sociopathy. On paper, he sounds like a nightmare. In life, he's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he might be a little bit difficult to live with.
Maybe.
But
yeah. Or I
mean, if you are that smart, even if you are not a psychopath, you're difficult to live with, because I live with one of those.
Fair enough.
And he's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And he can be extraordinarily selfish and self-centered.
Yeah.
And it's not to be mean, it's just that his brain is way above mine and doesn't have any time for my stupidity.
Yeah.
Or my menial chores. So...
Clean the room. I'm doing something important.
Yes. I'm solving world hunger. Go away, woman. He's not ever doing anything that important.
Well,
if he was doing something that important, I probably would be like, okay, you get a pass on doing the dishes today.
Yeah.
It's never that important.
Nah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, he is not easy to live with. So I can imagine that, and he's not even the most brilliant you can get. So I could see that living with somebody who is even more brilliant than that would be exhausting. Very exhausting.
Well, yeah, but it also, I don't know, intelligence is weird in weird ways. She could be like very high IQ and then loaded down with weird empathy. And I don't think he would be as exhausting to live with.
No, probably not. Although,
Like, not saying he's not empathetic, but there's
he is
degrees.
empathetic.
Yeah, I was saying like extremely.
No, yeah, he's not extremely empathetic.
Yeah.
He doesn't have my particular weirdness, but yeah, because he can identify emotions very easily because I trained him to identify emotions.
Right.
But I think it's just an identification.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know what he's looking at.
Yeah.
He just knows what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Did that make any sense?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's like if I were to label the computer parts for you, you would know what they were called, but you wouldn't know what they did.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right.
Labeling helps.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, like, if someone had both, it's maddening, but
yeah,
because then you can think and feel your way through everything.
That would be crazy. Yeah, he's just too logical for that.
Yeah. Well, pragmatism serves a purpose.
It does. His speech therapist is like, he understood all of the emotions we went over today. And it's like, that's amazing. She's like, but he couldn't explain to me why they were there. Like, or why he couldn't explain to me why he could identify it. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I don't know why I wouldn't be able to fully explain why I identify someone's emotions.
Well, I mean, it's stuff like they're sad. Okay, so how do you know that they're sad? Because there's a frown on their face. It's just, it has to be as simple as that. He couldn't necessarily do that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I can get to some degree of that. Then we're getting into some weird body language talk.
Yeah, no, this isn't like a crazy, sensing vibes off of a picture of a kid frowning. It's just identifying that the kid's frowning.
Right. Okay.
So.
Fair enough.
Or they're scared. You could see maybe like their eyes look wide or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Because.
Yeah, he couldn't get that.
Okay. So he knew it, but he didn't know why. So
he didn't know why.
They're sad because I think they're sad, not because they're frowning.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Oh, good Lord. My 4-year-old is knocking at the door. He wants to come in.
Huh.
And he's sticking Legos under the door.
Oh, fun.
Anyway, so we should probably wrap this up because he's going to start banging on the door really soon.
All right. So.
Anyway.
Writing about people.
I'm going to write about him.
Yeah, it's completely fine to write about people.
I mean, if you have this character that comes into your life, then, you totally should.
Yeah. I mean, and it can be, we discussed a lot of negatives.
Yeah.
But
it'll be very cathartic.
Well, not only that, I was just going to say writing about the positive people in your life. I've done that too. I've made good characters for people. So it's never one-to-one. Distance yourself somehow.
Yeah, I have to figure out the distance, but I think it'll be good.
Yeah. It'll be good.
Yes.
Then we'll have to keep it updated.
Yeah. And I don't have to think up a major story or world or plot. It'll just be a little bit of tweaking. Be nice to my brain.
Right.
All right. Until next week.
See you then.
Bye.
Later.